National Train Show
Yay.
in Orlando, Florida. Woohoo! Nice and sunny.
Nice and sunny.
Well, hey, we're in Orlando for the 2017 National Train Show. We got a lot of ground to cover today, so let's get started. All right, we're over at the Walthers booth with Zach Thompson. And Zach, a lot of exciting news this year at the Walthers booth, new models, the UPS licensing, but we're going to start off with your new layout control system.
Yeah, we're very excited. We've got 7 new announcements that we made here at the show. Of course, we've got lots of information that's going out there this weekend. But the layout control system might be the most unique announcement that we have for our company. It's an affordable, DCC-based, you can run either with DC or DCC switching machine that can do all the layout control for you.
And Zach, I understand the motor, that's a servo-based thing, which is fairly unique for our industry.
Yeah, it is servo-based. It's servo-based and then it's plug and play. So it's really easy to install. It's got the control in it so that when you get done with your throw, it doesn't continue. The motor stops. It doesn't continue working. You can run them sequentially so that the switches happen sequentially. You could hook up 8 different switches at the same time, and they just throw one after another after another. That's an option that you can have. So it's a very diverse utilitarian system that is servo-based, as you said.
And the nice thing is, this is a mix and match system, so you can get a lot of different components and put them all together.
Yeah, exactly. You can customize it for your layout to make sure that it works for your layout. You can either control it with your DCC cab or the simple switches that we provide as optional build-on materials that you can put in there as well.
All right, Zach, and the next big thing is the UPS licensing program. You have vehicles, structures, containers, trailers, the whole shebang.
The whole shebang. Everything that you need to model UPS on your HO scale layout. We've got it for both the 1990s version with the bow tie logo that they have and then the current modern shield logo. So there's 2 different structures. There's the UPS hub and then there's the UPS store that are actually coming out a little bit later. We've got 20 different vehicles. So there's trailers, there's international tractors, there are box delivery vans, all sorts of different things. There's actually a figure set of the delivery personnel too.
Now, the one neat thing with the distribution center is it features the new tip-up construction that you've been using on a few buildings now, and it can be modeled in a lot of different configurations.
Right. So it's expandable as well, which is really nice because UPS distribution centers are bigger or smaller depending upon the community. But yeah, it's got a lot of action in there, a lot of layout interest because there's different trucks delivering or taking packages away. There's a customer entrance so that you have like a number of areas that you can put figures. It's a really nice modeling piece for any layout.
And Zach, another new model to the lineup is the Jordan Spreader, and this is not to be confused with the old kit version from about a decade ago, is it?
Not at all. This is Walther's proto model. It's new from the rails to the roof. This is a completely new model. So we just tooled this up. It's extremely detailed. It's very prototype accurate. There are several road-specific details that we put into this thing so that it has a real authentic feel depending upon the paint scheme. You have different positioning of the horn, different headlight types. The tank in the back can either be vertically or horizontally aligned. It's a really great model. And the thing is, you have to see this thing for yourself to really appreciate it.
Yeah, and some of the neat features, much like the Russell snowplow you did a few months ago, this one has articulated parts with brass hinges, right?
Yeah, so you can actually model it with the arms up or down, depending upon what it is that you're doing with the model. If it's off in the yard, maybe they're up. If it's in operation, they're down. So it's articulate. We use metal parts where needed. We use plastic parts where we could. But it's very, very finely detailed based on whichever way you want to position it.
All right, Zach, and in addition to the new announcements, you also have a locomotive that you're showing for the first time. It was announced a while ago, the GEVO, but we've got test shots here to look at.
Yeah, we're very proud of this unit. It is a brand new Walthers mainline tool. And you can see that's a very faithful representation of the prototype. They retail for $129.98 to $199.98 for the DCC versions. And this is the first time that they're actually being seen in public. These are the first decorated samples that we've received. And they're coming a little bit later on this fall, this winter. But we wanted people to get a chance to see them for themselves because it's a great model.
And some of the features on this model, Zach?
Well, it's got all the prototype features for the actual locomotive. We've got separately applied sun shields and horns, the grabs, the ladders, everything like that.
Very good, a lot of nice road names too. You got the Canadian National here, as well as UP, CN, Norfolk Southern, and CSX.
Yeah, we also have BNSF too, which we didn't have a model for, but those are out there too with the correct trucks. We've got 3 different trucks for this series, and each different road gets its correct truck.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Zach. A lot of great new stuff coming from Walthers. And if people want to learn out more, they can go to your website, right?
Absolutely. Go on over to walthers.com. You can find all sorts of information about all these products. Thanks for joining me.
All right, Zach, thank you. Okay, we're over at the Athearn booth with Matt Gentry. And Matt, the big news this week, the SD60E. You want to tell us about that?
Sure, I can tell you a little bit about it. This is the Norfolk Southern rebuilt locomotive. They started rebuilding these in 2011, and projects finally came up, opened up some space, and we were able to fit it in and start the model. And so we're really happy to bring this to the market. We went to Altoona and Juniata, the Juniata shops in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and measured it. So this is gone from actual dimensions from the locomotives. It's as accurate as we can make it, and we're just really excited about it. We finally got it, the special paint schemes, the 911, excuse me, and so we'll be doing the veterans unit later and the Go Rail unit a little later. We're really happy with it.
And this is a Genesis level model, so it's got a lot of that high-end detail that we've come to expect, right?
Yes, this is Genesis. This is our second Genesis locomotive to have LED lighting everywhere. There's no incandescent bulbs you have to worry about burning out. This has etched see-through metal steps.
All right, and when can modelers expect to start seeing these in hobby shops?
We're really pushing to get these at the end of December, but realistically might be February.
All right, Matt, that sounds good. Well, thank you very much for sharing this big news.
You bet. Thanks for stopping by.
And now we're with Craig Walker at Athearn Trains. And Craig, you want to tell us a little bit about your project, which is the SDP-40F. You're doing the freight and the passenger versions of it.
That's right. The SDP-40F was built as an Amtrak locomotive, and the prevailing wisdom at the time was Amtrak wasn't going to last, and so they wanted a locomotive that can convert to freight service when Amtrak failed. Fortunately for rail fans and modelers, it didn't happen, but there were 3 orders of SDP-40Fs built. They all had slight differences. We replicate all those differences in our model.
And Craig, this is a Genesis level model. Do you want to talk about some of the detail differences here? I mean, you can really see it with the notch nose on the Santa Fe model, the front end handrails versus the Amtrak model, which didn't have those features.
Right. We did 5 different bodies on these, which is kind of overkill for a locomotive that was only 140, I think. The very first Amtrak units were delivered with a pointed nose, standard height fans, and 2 fuel fills. The next 2 orders were built with a flat nose, which was unusual for EMD. Low profile fans so they could run them anywhere in the country, including the Northeast if they wanted. And 3 fuel fills in order to accept fuel fills from any of the railroads they operated on. And then there are little details too, icicle breakers on some units, not on others. We're going to offer those in the future. And some road-specific stenciling that happened very often. And then, of course, Santa Fe picked up a batch. They didn't really modify them much initially other than yanking out the steam generators. Then the crews complained that they didn't like having to get up in the cab because there was no handrail on the front. Well, let me correct myself. Santa Fe added a handrail, but there was no way to get up the steps in the front. So they rebuilt it into kind of a ladder arrangement. The crews didn't like that. Then they notched the nose and put in a full step well. And we've got all 3 of those versions that will be available. Step well first, the others coming.
And Craig, when can modelers start to expect to see these in hobby shops?
The first release, which is Amtrak and Santa Fe late version, Amtrak's flat nose version, are due next month, which is September.
All right, Craig, and if people want to learn more about your models, they can go over to your website,
which is www.athearn.com. And oddly, the www is important. You have to put that in, or you'll get a fail message.
All right, Craig. Well, it's good to see you again. Thanks for your time.
All right. Thanks for asking about our products.
Well, the big news at the MTH booth is the HO Scale AC6 Southern Pacific Cab Forward, and here to fill us in on the details is Andy Edleman. Andy, this is a great new model with a lot of fantastic detail.
It sure is, Cody. Thanks for stopping by. You know, it's another one of the long lineage of steam locomotives we've been doing in our HO lineup. And this locomotive is on the heels of our Norfolk and Western J. Both are 2017 releases. The cab forwards are in stock today, so you can place orders through your local retailer or buy direct from the MTH website. We're super excited about this model.
And what are some of the features that modelers have to look forward to?
Well, like all of our steam engines in our HO line, it's a die-cast metal construction. It's got our Protosound 3.0 system inside, which has a 28-function DCC decoder, perfectly compatible with every DCC controller that's out there. This locomotive has some new DCC functionality that's been in our diesel line for a number of years. Feature mapping, speed mapping, function mapping are included in the DCC protocol.
And Andy, you're doing it in a couple different paint schemes too, right?
We are. We've got the original model and the modern cab and multi-paint schemes. This particular scheme that we've got on display here is something we've never done before. My people are very hyped up about it, and they've got all the documentation for that scheme. So Southern Pacific lines, I think there's 6 different SKUs altogether, so different cab numbers to choose from. It's going to be cool.
All right, Andy, if people want to go online to order these models, they can go to your website, right?
Absolutely, mthtrains.com. You'll find them on there. There's right on the front page. We just posted that up Wednesday, and there's an interactive catalog. You can click on that, and all the links are live. And when you hit those links, you'll come right to a page where you could buy it right from us or through any of your local retailers. Even if they're not big stocking MTH dealers, if they're on our site, they can order that locomotive for you, and you'll have it in a few days.
All right, really good to see you again, Andy. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for coming by, Cody. Good luck today.
Well, we're at the MR booth with contributing editor Tony Custer. And Tony, right before I left, we got our MRP 2018 kits. Do you want to give us a little preview of what to expect?
Well, one of the things that you'll see on the promotional ads that are going out right now is a cover showing some narrow gauge modeling. And don't jump to any conclusions about what you're seeing, because it's HO gauge, but it's not HO scale, and it's not ON30. And it's by a veteran modeler, Doug Tagsold, who's done a lot of different things. And read the article. It's one of those things that's kind of just fun, but if you're at all in love with, let's say, Colorado narrow gauge, you can't lose. We've got another fellow who's talking about a modern short line in Michigan that's on the old New York Central, what they call the old road. And you can't believe it. I mean, here was the New York Central main line, and it's now a weed-grown branch. I mean, but the short lines brought it back, and they've got some big-time customers. I talk about a number of things that you don't want to do. That's kind of a negative approach to model railroading. We've just got what I hope is the usual good balance. So I hope that everybody enjoys the next issue and the issue after that and the one after that too.
Well, we have a lot to look forward to next year, and we got a strong finish to this week. Tony, it was great to see you again.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here. Thanks, Cody.
All right, well, big new items in N and HO scales from Atlas, and here to fill us in on the details is Paul Graff. And Paul, let's start off with the N-scale GP39-2 diesel locomotive. A lot of great paint schemes and features to look forward to here.
Yeah, the GP39-2 is all new tooling. It's going to have sound. It's a new tooling chassis for that, so it'll lend itself to doing the 38, the 40, the 40-2, the 38-2. The first batch we're going to do are Phase 1 road names, and as you can see from this scheme, we have Santa Fe, CSX, Delaware and Hudson, Reading, Portland and Western, and the 35th anniversary Wisconsin and Southern locomotive.
Of course, that's a locomotive we're very familiar with through Waukesha. What are some of the other features here as far as the sound that we're going to be looking forward to?
They'll have the ESU loc sound decoders, and they have the full throttle features, 20 different sound effects, 16 user selectable horns, and more.
All right, Paul, and when will those start rolling into hobby shops?
It's going to be a September announcement, so we're looking at late first quarter, early second quarter of 2018 for the production to arrive in the hobby shops.
All right, Paul, and then the next big announcement we have over here is the HO and N-scale Santa Fe BX177 boxcars. And these are brand new models, right?
These are brand new. The tooling is based on the BX166 tooling from BLMA, which we purchased a year and a half ago. These are the single-door versions, and we did the new tooling to show that. The first run will be Santa Fe, the original scheme, and the BNSF Power Bar logo, and they'll come in 12 numbers each.
All right, Paul, and these BX177 cars are going to be announced in the fourth quarter, and people can keep posted on these models at your website, right?
That is correct. And with the fourth quarter announcement, they should arrive middle of 2018, June area.
All right, that sounds good. And I understand we have some breaking news here. Steve Woodward's going to fill us in on one other neat feature of the DC versions of the GP39-2s and N-scale. And Steve, this is pretty cool. They're going to come with speakers.
Right. Speakers are going to be installed in the fuel tank area on analog locomotives. So somebody purchases an analog locomotive and decides they want to upgrade to sound. All they have to do is take the body shell off, slide this decoder out and then replace it with the sound decoder and put the body shell back on, and now they have a sound locomotive ready to go.
Well, that's a really cool feature, Paul. I think it's probably the first time I've heard of it in the hobby, so that's another thing to look forward to with those locomotives. Thanks for filling us in on those details.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
And Paul, another new freight car you have coming in N scale is a 40-foot well car.
Yeah, this is the modernized version of the 48-foot cars that they've cut down as the intermodal industry has turned to 40-foot and 53-foot containers. This is based on a Trenton Works Husky stack that's been reduced to 40-foot.
Paul, this model has a lot of nice features. Looks like it has etched metal running boards. It has the trailer hitches. And the body, is that a die-cast metal body?
Yeah, it's a die-cast metal body and the etched metal walkways and the remnants of the Husky stack trailer hitches.
And Paul, when can modelers expect to see these well cars in hobby shops?
Those are announced now, so they'll be expected in hobby shops in early 2018.
All right, Paul, well, I really appreciate your time. And for more information, again, you go to www.atlasrr.com.
That's right, Cody. Thanks for visiting us at the show here.
All right, take care. All right, well, you've seen his vehicles on Cody's office several times now, and here's the man that makes it happen, Neil Maltz. And Neil, you have another illuminated Walther's Scenemaster fire truck here.
Thanks, Cody. What you see here is the Walther's Scenemaster pump truck. It's got front and rear lights. It's got alternating red lights across the top. On the back, we have alternating lights as well as hazard lights, rear stop lights, alternating red lights across the side. As you saw on our hazmat vehicle, we have also the scene lights on each side of the vehicle.
And Neil, in addition to AHO, you're also doing an HO scale police car here.
Yes, this is our newest introduction. We had lots of calls for people that wanted to do O-scale vehicles. So we've done a number of them with front and rear headlights, tail lights, the alternating lights on the back here. We've got a number of vehicles. We've got some Expeditions, some Explorers, and some sedans. We do it in 2-door, 4-door. As long as the vehicles are out there, we can light them up.
And Neil, that's a good point. As I say, if people want to learn out more, not only about the models you sell, but having their own vehicles custom lighted, they can go to your website, right?
Absolutely. You can go to www.eastcoastcircuits.com. We have a whole selection of vehicles. We'll also do custom vehicles for you. Just send us an email request at eastcoastcircuits@gmail.com, and we'll be more than happy to reply to you and let you know how we can light them up.
All right, Neil, it was really good to see you again.
Cody, thanks a lot. David, thank you much.
All right, we're over at the Pico booth, and they've got a brand new piece of Code 83 North American track. It's the number 6 Diamond Crossing, and here to fill us in on the details is Steve Haynes. And Steve, this features the new Unifrog style construction. And you want to tell our viewers a little more about that, please?
Yeah, certainly. Well, Unifrog is a new concept which effectively combines the benefits of Electrofrog and Insulfrog all in the one unit. As supplied, it works just like an Insulfrog. Unifrog has a separate frog tip. The frog tip is completely isolated from the rest of the frog unit, and it means that as out of the packet, it operates just like an Insulfrog. Now, the model can then power the frog if they wish to by connecting the wire that's welded to the underside of the frog tip to a micro switch, and they can switch the polarity as you would do with an Electrofrog turnout. So you have the best of both worlds, and the model can make the choice as to which way they wish to use it.
All right, Stephen, this crossing has a lot of the great features you've come to expect from the Code 83 line, correct?
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, everything else, as far as the Code 83 line is concerned, is much the same as before. It has all the very fine rail profile detail, the rail fixings, the correct tie spacing and correct tie length. This has been on the market now for 13 years. We launched it in 2004, which I remember very well, and it was well received then, and we've just continued to develop the line, and we're very pleased that we're enhancing it and going back over some of these products just to bring them up to a higher standard. And quite likely in the future we'll be introducing 1 or 2 new lines to complement all these products. But we do see there a great future for this product, and we know that the modelers love it.
And the number 6 Diamond Crossing, when is that going to be in hobby shops and in stores?
It should be there now. And if it's not there now, I'll be very disappointed. If it's not in your hobby store now, it'll be arriving very soon.
All right, Steve, well, it was really good to see you again, and keep up the great work.
Cody, you're welcome. Nice to see you. Thank you.
All right, and we're also at the Pico booth with Bob Phelps, and Bob is a legend with Pico. He's with the company 53 years, and he recently retired. And Bob, could you tell us a little bit about your career at Pico? I mean, a great history and a long run.
Yes, it is a long run. I started when the company was under Sidney Pritchard, and the membership of the actual company itself was in basically almost single figures. So probably around about 18 souls running the whole business. And I took on the actual design side then, which seems an entirety ago, actually. But it's been a wonderful experience. It was never a job to me. It was always a hobby, and I was paid for doing a hobby. And there's not many people in the world that can say that.
Well, Bob, it was really a great surprise to see you here again, and we're happy to see you, and we look forward to seeing you next year.
Thank you very much indeed, Cody, and it's been great to meet all the guys at Railroad over the years. They've always been very kind to us. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bob. Well, that wraps up part 1 of our show coverage from Orlando. Click on the link at the bottom of this page to go to part 2. Thanks for watching. Well, hey, we're in Orlando for the 26th. It's 26th. Let's try it again.
Slept a little late last
I did. Too much pasta.